Hey, this is Bobby again, picking where I left off because somebody walked in and I had to pause. I was explaining how some mainboards, more and more mainboards, incorporate every piece of functionality into the main processor, and that includes the different possible HDMI inputs, where older boards, and some of the newer, but less and less, do have one or two inputs for the HDMI in the main processor, but do have a separate selector IC which takes in 4, and in fact in this case 5 HDMI. All of those go to this HDMI selector, and out of that HDMI selector they go to the main processor. What's the significance of that? Well, the significance is that when there is a power surge and say lightning strike, thunderstorm, during a thunderstorm, or whatever other reason that may cause a power surge in the HDMI, in a board that has a dedicated HDMI selector, what happens is that HDMI selector burns and it has to be replaced. Sometimes some components around it burn, eventually power and whatnot, but the whole board can be restored by replacing something relatively small, simple, and cheap. Where if you get one of the newer boards with one processor that does everything, and a surge enters here, it goes straight to the main processor, and the net result of that is, as you will see, I had 2 boards here. One of them is the original one. It's labeled CTVR. That's the board that was on the TV that was brought to us for repair. And on that board, sorry about that, and on that board I will stick the grounding pin here, and I'm going to show you the resistance of that voltage stabilizers is 27 ohms. Here. Now if we do the same on the other board, the one that just arrived, the resistance on the same voltage stabilizer, that's a standard 1117 variable voltage stabilizer, is 440 ohms. So we know there is a problem, there is a shortage in that board. There is not an EEPROM that is bad. It may be, but it isn't. Sorry, this is the left one. This is the one that's showing 427. And again, the left one here, 439. So here's the funny part. Those here are, well, not the funny, the details. This is the HDMI input, and those small resistors are put there for stabilization and protection of the signal. Both of those, but mostly for balancing purposes, because the signal there is differential. It goes in pairs, and basically it's got to have the same reasonably high resistance, like 500 ohms, to all of those small resistors that are here, like this one that is 780. And then the one next to it, same thing. And then the one next to it, I'm moving to the right. And here's what we're finding. On the fourth one from left to right, this is RA09 label on the board. We have 13 ohms. That by itself is unusual and abnormal and tells you there is a problem there. And here's what it's got to be. Fourth, left to right, we said 1, 2, 3, 4. RA09, same as before. It's got to be the same as the others. 768 ohms, above 500. Different processors will have it differently, but somewhere between 500 and 800 is what you should be reading. So what this tells me is that board received a power surge that hit the main processor, burned it. We can detect the short in the power supply line, but it's more than, you know, I don't have to take off this voltage stabilizer. I know the problem is in here, and this is the solution. And why am I telling you all that? Well, first, to know why some boards are better than other boards, and you cannot tell by the TV whether yours is more likely to cost you more in the long run or not. The general tendency is for everything to go into one chip, but still the high-end TVs I'm seeing do use things like that, maybe because they just want to have more HDMI inputs, maybe in order to protect you. Personally, I think it's the former. So this is one thing that you can't really know. A customer cannot know when choosing a TV how prone it is to failure and how likely it is going to be costing to repair it, because replacing this is nowhere near as simple, or this is nowhere near as simple as cheap as replacing that. And from that to the second part of what I want to say, this whole thing with the HDMIs and the unification is the reason why people should be using HDMI protectors. And this is why we sort of ask some of our customers to do that and to get those protections from us. There are different types. They're active, passive. Basically anything that isolates electrically, adds another layer of protection between the source of the surge and the main processor, works for you. This is like $5 to $15. It's absolutely worth using on a board that is being used. There are better ones, there are worse ones, but any one of them is better than nothing. Hope that helps. Good luck. I have to get the phone. Thank you.